All the memories of Canning Stock Route flooding back, which are pretty cool memories, I must tell you. That was a pretty fantastic trip I did last year. For our final campsite, we've chosen an elevated table of bare red rock where the intensity of the setting sun is unfettered. And camera ready. I'm well into my expedition to cross Australia, and I'm travelling with my daughter Kate, and we are about to cross the Simpson Desert. And the only way to do that is to drive its dune tracks for 4 continuous days. But to get onto the track from this side means crossing Big Red, reputed to be Australia's biggest sand dune, a formidable obstacle. I don't understand, guys. I don't get it. What is all the fuss about Big Red? It should be mediocre red. We've crossed, what, 10, 12 dunes. It's probably, out of all of them, one of the easiest. It's not the highest. I thought it was the biggest dune in Australia. No ways is it as high as some of these other dunes. No ways is it as difficult. Am I missing something? It was easy. No, it wasn't. It was a walk in the park compared to some of these lumpy things with great big holes in it.
We definitely deserve a really cold Coke.
So, I learned something about my vehicle. The crunking noise was on these big axle twisters. These tyres are too big for this vehicle because it was touching the bodywork at maximum flex over those yumps. So, not good. Not good. Too big. Well, there's the desert in front of us. Pretty amazing. We've got 1,200 plus minus dunes to cross. How do you feel?
Psyched!
The track that we're driving on is called the QAA line. We're going to actually get off it quite soon at a place called Popo Corner, where there is an intersection between 3 states. And at that point, we're going to be heading south and then west again, getting onto what's known as the French line. These two are the most well-frequented parts of the Simpson Desert crossing. So we're going to continue driving until nightfall because the flies are still terrible, and even if we have to drive until after the sun goes down, we'll do that just to avoid the flies. Hate wide tires. Hate wide tires. They're a pain and annoyance, and they don't help at all.
You heard it here, folks.
I didn't know you were rolling the camera.
Wide tires suck.
No, the wide is the edge of the tires. If the tires were narrow, it wouldn't be hitting. Would have masses of clearance. Now, because of the width. So we have about 1,200 of these babies to cross. And our route is going to be, we're going to carry the French line, which is notorious for being cut up and broken up by lots of traffic. Then we're going to head south onto the WA line, which is prettier. Some of the dunes are a little steeper, but they're not nearly as cut up because there's less traffic. And then rejoin the French line. And this piece of our journey will take, 4 days.
A lot of traffic, folks. A lot of traffic. We literally just turned the corner and it's a forest. How crazy is this? There's just a random forest and the sand is a different color. How amazing is that?
This is what the canning was like this. You drive and it's the same, you drive and it's the same, suddenly, boom, it's different. It was what made it magic. Magic thing to do is to drive in places like this. I absolutely live for it. It's a lot of getting here though, it takes a lot of getting here.
The song is the same now. June lifting us higher. We can see so clear. We can see so.
And it's back to the way it was. Exactly the same.
Had to get out of the car, been sitting down there for a long time, and I just noticed driving past here a roof rack that's broken. I'm always interested to know what breaks on trips like this, what actually fails, and I was wondering if I could recognize what broke on this one. Here it is. Nothing obvious, very obviously homemade, I would say. But no telltale, no fingerprints of failure, as engineers like to call things. Ah, I've got a fingerprint of a spike in my foot. I just like to look at things like that to see, you know, why did they break? Where did they break? It interests me greatly. Anyway, we're doing good mileage today. We're quite close to the border between South Australia, Western Australia, and Northern Australia, or the Northern Territory. So we'll probably be there within a few hours. The stretch that we've just completed is called the Mungu Tiri National Park. Did I pronounce it correctly? You Australian guys, you always give me a hard time about my pronunciation of Aboriginal names. I'm going to try one for you. See if I get it right. I don't think it's Aboriginal, but I'm not sure, because you guys, I think you get it completely wrong. The word is Australia, and you guys call it Australia. How on earth am I supposed to get that right when you all get...
Poor famous man, just getting harassed. Okay, so let me just close that. It's pretty bumpy.
rough bit coming up.
Yeah, rough bit. You should probably hold on. Yep, things falling.
Oh wow, look at that. That's a great big salt flat.
Wow.
Yo. Cool.
That looks fantastic. I'll have to get a proper shot of it in a moment.
Yeah.
Wow.
So wow, look at that. The best part about these things is that they change so quickly. Everything goes a couple of hours and it's... I love this.
It's fantastic.
It's this. It's these crossings that make this track only accessible during the dry season. And not long ago, probably less than 2 months, this would have been water and completely impassable. And they only actually open the crossing once this is dry, but even underneath here this is very soft, and you can see where people have tried to get across, this would be extremely difficult to cross in the wet, but the track is obviously dry ahead of us, so I'm not worried. But wow, I love these places. When it crashed, what did the footage look like? Do you remember?
No, I wasn't looking, I was steering. In case you didn't gather, we've lost the drone, crashed. And we've got absolutely no idea where it is, and all there is bushes that could easily hide a drone. And it's Mavic Pro, which means it's little, which means it's easy to lose. That looks
I don't know how high it was, how much further away it was from the car, but I don't think it was far.
I don't think it was far either.
So I imagine it'll keep flashing for a short while, but not very long, maybe an hour.
I wonder why it crashed, because if we can figure out why it crashed.
It crashed because it was flying too low, and I didn't take enough precaution. It was my fault.
No.
I found it.
That was a lot closer than I thought.
That's my first major drone crash, and it's looking in good condition actually. I think we got lucky. I think we got lucky. Okay. These things are pretty good at detecting things that they crash into, but not if they're traveling sideways. And I was tracking the car sideways and it hit a bush. That's why it crashed.
I think we should camp here.
I think it's too exposed. You really think so?
There are hardly any flies. Have you noticed?
Yeah, I have
Not being
noticed.
swarmed.
So in trees we're going to find it a bit more sheltered, and I think it's a bit more comfortable actually than out in the open. Looking for a spot to camp overlooking the lake. This is actually, Kate, this is actually really nice, and somebody's camped here before, so we're not making new tracks unnecessarily. This is a nice flat area here, or you can go slightly higher. Hey, it's nice and flat here, hey? It's good, eh? It's actually perfect. Yeah. And early morning we'll have beautiful morning shots. Eh? Pretty good. Pretty good. Very slightly down on the back. This has been the best day's driving from the whole trip so far. I'm just talking about my crossing from Byron Bay westerly. I'm talking about the entire trip from Perth to Byron Bay and now here. What a magnificent drive. Absolutely fantastic. If it wasn't for the flies, it would be perfect. Anyway, time for a shower and food. I'm definitely hungry. Pretty cold these mornings. Magnificent sky, magnificent fire, great food. Well, not great food. We don't have any real cooks with us, so that doesn't really worry me at all. Sun coming up over the east, and we'll be heading, at the moment we're actually heading south. We're about to join the French line. We've been on the QAA line and then on the WAA line, which is a little bit further south. It means a bit of a detour, but I understand that the roads are not quite as difficult, not quite as churned up because there's less traffic, and it's a prettier stretch of the Simpson. So that's what we're going to be doing today.
So we just did a little shoot for Instagram. Got a few pics I think will be really nice. Just flies. And I put on a pretty white dress for it, but now I'm going to go get into my pajamas because, let's be real, who wears a white dress in all this orange sand? That's just stupid.
So now, on the French line, heading west again. And it's very gnarled, and that sound is these wide tyres touching the bodywork. I may have mentioned it before yesterday, and it happened a lot. So I'm having to take it easy and drive very gently over this undulating terrain because I don't want to damage the bodywork. And I don't know how long this is going to last, but speed is way down from what it was yesterday. But enjoying the drive. The sand is soft. The car is performing nicely. No other real concerns. Apart from the fact that we have nothing to worry about. This is Football's Corner, the point on the map which divides Queensland, South Australia and the Northern Territory. And these states have different time differences. It's daylight saving. So this is Queensland. It is now 10:30. South Australia, 10:30. It's only 10 o'clock in Northern Territory. Go figure. Now I'm going to now film you proof that you've now been to all of those different states. So you've actually been to every state except Canberra and Tasmania.
Is Canberra a state?
Well, it's a territory, but whatever.
Well, I think I'll skip that one. It's only 9:30 in Northern Territory because, I don't know, they're really, really strange and they split it up by about half an hour because of daylight saving, so it's pretty weird.
On our dashboard we have a thing called the yellow brick. It is yellow, but it's not a brick. It is an electronic device that sends a signal to a satellite and presents anybody on the website a live tracking. And it only pulse, I've got it to pulse every 6 hours. So every 6 hours somebody can tell where we are, how fast we're moving, what direction we're moving, etc., etc. So if you want to go and have a look at my website to see what we've just done, because of course this video won't be live, by the time you see this video I'll be doing something else. But you can have a look at our trip on the link provided below. The wide tyres that I am testing are not matched well to the vehicle modifications, and the wheel articulation on the rough track is enough so that the tyres are hitting the inner wheel arch, and I've got to do what I can to remedy it.
I'm going to take some of these out, put them back, or maybe I should just take them out completely. Actually, if I take them out completely, that's going to do less damage. I'm going to take them out completely. I don't like wide tyres. I don't think they have any advantage at all. This kind of travel. They're more of a liability than anything. I'm really struggling to find any specific advantage of wide tyres. Travel like this. I think that'll help. Except I've dropped one in the sand. The sand is incredibly fine, and it's benign. It's not sticky or particularly coarse. It's kind of soft and comfortable. Sand. It's completely filled up with sand. I'm going to sort it out in the car. Quick bathroom break, and I'm finding shooting this particular series really difficult because of the flies. I mean, I get out to just, do a little vlog and just explain what's going on, and we just have to cope with so many flies. It's really quite unpleasant. Anyway, now the landscape is starting to change a little bit. It's become a little bit flat. This morning's technical drive was an enormous amount of fun, very lumpy, very sandy, and fun. Loved it every second of it. It's starting to spread out now, and we're about to take actually another line going south to hit. So this is the French line, which is reported gnarly all the way. So we're going to take an easier line. It's going to mean a little bit of a detour, called the WAA line. And well, what can I say? That is what we're going to do. Beautiful countryside, but hopefully there won't be as many flies on that part, a little bit further south than we are now. But right now, we're just having to live with them. It's making things quite difficult. And of course, every time you get into the car, you let in 1,000 flies, and then you have to spend the next half hour trying to get them out of the car as the car is actually moving. So it's really awful. It's not much fun at all. So time to open it up a little bit. And they fly along with the car, so until you see them, until you've actually got a bit of speed, they can easily just keep up with the speed of the car. And they're still keeping up with the car. Looking at our GPS, this is actually the very last of the salt pans we will see on our venture, because the reason why I mention it is because they're actually wonderful things. They interrupt the monotonous of the track, and suddenly you hit this enormous expanse of white nothingness. And it breaks the monotony. It's fantastic. But this will be the last one, probably certainly on our crossing of the Simpson.